They say grief comes in waves. But mine arrived in a boardroom, silent and sharp-edged, like the crack of winter air inside the law office of Griffin and Dale in downtown Denver. The floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked a city I'd spent most of my adult life in. Yet in that moment I felt more foreign than the snow swirling outside. I sat at the far end of the long walnut conference table, wearing the navy dress Charles always said made my eyes look like evening over the lake. I even brought the little velvet pouch with his cufflinks in it. Thought it might feel right somehow. Thought today would be about honoring the man I loved for over 3 decades. Instead, it felt like walking into my own execution. Across from me sat Ryan, Charles's only son from his first marriage, and his wife Isabel. She wore her signature bone-colored blazer, and that thin-lipped smile I'd come to recognize as her version of gloating. Ryan leaned back like this was a casual meeting over estate matters, not a reckoning. The lawyer, Mr. Feldman, cleared his throat and began reading. He moved through the legalese quickly, professionally detached. But as the words spilled forward, it became clear what this was. I wasn't mentioned. Not once. Not for the house I'd cleaned every Sunday for 30 years. Not for the cabin I'd helped Charles keep in the family. Not even for the stupid little metal dog statue he used to joke was our guardian spirit. A nothing. I didn't blink. Didn't ask why. I just watched Ryan smirk and lean in to whisper something to Isabel. She didn't laugh, but she smiled. Smug. Triumphant. I knew that look. Isabel wore it at every family dinner when she seated me at the far end of the table like I was the help. Now, apparently I was disposable. Well, Ryan said aloud, stretching like someone ticking off the final item on a to-do list, I guess he finally came to his senses. I could have cried. I could have screamed. Instead, I reached into my bag. Not the one I normally carry, but the one with the reinforced bottom, and pulled out a manila folder. Quietly, I slid it across the table toward Mr. Feldman. What's this? He asked, pausing mid-motion. Something Charles signed, I said calmly. 3 months ago. In our kitchen. Same pen he used for the old will. He opened the folder. There were 4 sets of documents inside. Property deeds. Transfer of ownership forms. A notarized statement. A USB drive labeled Final Recording. Mr. Feldman's face drained of color like someone had flipped a switch. He flipped through the pages again, slower this time. Ryan stopped mid-stretch. Isabel's brows knit so tightly they looked like a single angry line across her forehead. What is this? Ryan asked, voice clipped. Everything you thought you stole, I said, rising to my feet. I already owned. I didn't wait for the shouting. I didn't wait for the panic to set in. But I saw it, their eyes darting, calculating. And for the first time since Charles passed, I felt the ground return beneath my feet. Let them burn in the fire they lit. This wasn't the end of me. This was just the beginning. 3 months before the will reading, before the silence turned thick and sharp, before I stopped recognizing the house I once called home, I sat across from Charles in our kitchen, and for the first time in a long while, he looked like himself. And not the man worn thin by medication. Not the quiet, confused shadow that Ryan kept insisting needed rest and supervision. But Charles, my Charles, clear-eyed, steady, and uncharacteristically serious. He stared into his coffee mug as if the answers might rise from the steam. Then he said, without lifting his eyes, I don't trust them, Evie. I didn't need to ask who he meant. He was talking about Ryan, of course. And Isabel, always hovering nearby. Always polite in that weaponized way she mastered so well. Their visits had become frequent. Unannounced, intrusive. Ryan had started showing up with files, legal pads, questions about bank accounts and insurance. Isabel always smiled and said, We're just making sure you both are prepared. But Charles saw through them. At least on that day he did. They think I don't notice, he continued. But I see what's happening. The way Ryan talks over you now. The way Isabel pretends you're not even in the room. He finally looked up. I want to set things straight. While I still can. So we did. That night, we printed the transfer forms from the county website. Charles insisted we do it ourselves, no attorneys, no delays. He signed everything at our kitchen table, wearing the same reading glasses he'd had since 1995, the ones with one arm taped in black electrical tape. The next morning, Reverend Henry Morrison, Charles's oldest friend from church, came by after choir practice. He was already a registered notary. We offered him coffee, and without even needing an explanation, he signed and stamped the documents. No questions asked. Just a quiet nod. I remember Charles saying, "Let it be a surprise." I thought he meant a good one. 2 weeks later, everything began to change. Orion moved in. Not into a hotel. Not into a short-term rental. But into the guest room like it had always been his. No one asked me. He brought in boxes, reorganized the hall closet, started taking calls on speakerphone in Charles's office. Then came the appointments. Orion insisted on helping manage Charles's medical schedule. He changed doctors, said the new one was more forward-thinking. I stopped receiving updates. Nurses who once smiled and chatted with me now gave short, clipped answers. I was told not to overstress Charles. Told to let the family handle it. Apparently I wasn't family anymore. Isabel didn't move in, but she might as well have. She came every evening, sometimes with a casserole, sometimes with a bottle of wine. Always with that look, neutral, distant, like she was watching a scene from a play she'd already seen 100 times and was bored with the outcome. She never raised her voice, never got involved. Just stood back and observed, like I was being audited and she was the quiet little pen marking the ledger. Then came the calls I never received, the emails I wasn't copied on, the decisions made without me. The bank statements stopped arriving in our mailbox. Charles's calendar was replaced with Ryan's phone alerts. And little by little, room by room, I disappeared. I'd walk into the living room and find Ryan stretched across Charles's recliner, watching baseball. Isabel would be scrolling on her phone, feet on my ottoman. They'd glance up, nod, say nothing. One night, I found them in the kitchen, my kitchen, debating whether Charles should sell the lake cabin. I interrupted. I said, "He doesn't want to sell. We talked about this." Ryan replied without looking at me, "He forgot you talked about it." That's when I knew. They weren't just preparing to inherit. They were already acting like they had. And me? I was the housekeeper who forgot her shift ended years ago. After the reading of the will, I didn't go straight home. I needed somewhere that didn't smell like mahogany furniture and betrayal. So I drove to Millie's Diner just off Colfax. The place hadn't changed since the 80s. The same peeling teal booths, the same chalkboard specials in fading pink and green chalk, the same waitress with the name tag that read candy in cracked plastic. It was the diner Charles and I used to stop at every other Sunday after church, back when after church was still a thing we did together. I slid into our old booth, third from the back, by the window with the view of the parking lot and the dented dumpster. Candy gave me a tired smile, asked if I wanted the usual. I nodded, even though I didn't remember what the usual was anymore. The truth was I just needed somewhere to breathe. Somewhere to sit where nobody expected me to justify my presence. The grilled cheese came with a limp dill pickle and fries I didn't touch. I stirred the coffee more than I drank it. My hands kept drifting to the folder I'd tucked back into my purse, the one that had turned that boardroom to ice not 30 minutes ago. But it wasn't the documents that weighed on me. It was the memory of every little thing I'd let slide these past few years. The small cuts that never stopped bleeding. At the time Isabel rearranged the guest bathroom without asking, and when I mentioned it she laughed and said, "You still care about little things like that?" The Thanksgiving where Ryan brought a store-bought pie and insisted it was better than mine, loudly, while Charles sat silent. The dinner party where someone mistook me for the housekeeper, and no one corrected them. Not even Charles. And worst of all, the silence from Lena. My daughter. My only child. We hadn't spoken in 5 years. Not since she told me, eyes burning, voice shaking, that marrying Charles had meant choosing him over her. I told her she didn't understand. That she would someday. But I think I knew even then I was losing her. She stopped calling. I stopped trying. Time did what it always does. It hardened the silence until it felt like stone. But sitting in that booth, wrapped in the ache of what had just happened, I reached for my phone. And for once I didn't overthink it. I typed a short message. "Lena, if you still have this number, I need you to see something. Not for him. For me. Please." I attached the audio file. The one Charles recorded 3 weeks before he died. The one where his voice trembled but the words were clear. "If something happens to me, Evelyn's the only one who stood by me. Don't let them take that from her." I hit send. Then I sat back and stared out the window, half expecting nothing, half hoping the number had changed, that the message would disappear into some digital void, unreceived and unread. But 5 minutes later my phone buzzed. Just one line. I listened. You weren't lying. And for a moment I didn't feel so invisible. The grief didn't vanish. The betrayal didn't dull. But something inside me shifted. A small sharp spark. A quiet resolve. I wasn't done. They thought they'd erased me. But they forgot one thing. You can't erase someone who knows where the truth is buried. Especially when she's the one holding the shovel. After Lena's message, something in me solidified. Not rage. Not even relief. Just focus. I went home, locked the front door behind me, and turned the lights on room by room like I was reclaiming a battlefield. Then I sat at the dining table, the one Ryan once suggested we replace because old furniture attracts dust, and pulled out every document I had. Deeds. Bank records. Power of attorney forms, both the ones they knew about and the ones they didn't. The notarized transfer of ownership. The audio file. The email from Charles to his lawyer. Even the calendar entry I'd printed from the day Charles signed everything over to me. Time-stamped. Color-coded. Legal. I created folders, physical and digital. Asset ownership. Intent and willingness. Evidence of manipulation. Medical interference. Voice records. I uploaded everything to 2 separate cloud drives and created a USB backup wrapped in a Ziploc bag, which I tucked inside an old prescription bottle and buried in the back of the freezer behind the frozen lasagna. It wasn't paranoia. It was insurance. I wasn't about to lose this war because I kept all my ammo in one place. And then came the knock. It was almost dusk. I was in the middle of scanning Charles's signature, matching the one from the official will to the one he gave me in our kitchen, when the doorbell rang. I hesitated, but something told me to answer. Standing there on my front step was a woman in light blue scrubs, eyes puffy from crying, holding a small cardboard box. "Are you Mrs. Evelyn Harper?" she asked softly. I nodded. "I was one of Charles's night nurses. He asked me to give this to you if things went bad." She didn't wait for a thank you, just handed me the box, turned, and walked away down the driveway like she was delivering a message from the dead. I stood there frozen, holding it like it might explode. When I finally set it down on the kitchen counter, I stared at the packing tape for a long time before slicing it open with the paring knife I kept by the sink. Inside, wrapped in an old handkerchief, was Charles's brown leather pocket journal. The one I thought he'd lost years ago. Beneath it, a folded envelope with my name in his handwriting. And below that, a small flash drive marked only with the word truth. My fingers trembled as I opened the letter. If you're reading this, it means they won. At least for now. But I did what I could. I saw what was happening. I just didn't have the fight left in me to stop it. I'm sorry for what they've done. For what I let happen. There were no grand declarations. No I love yous. Just facts. Memories. Warnings. He wrote about how Ryan had started isolating him, feeding him different versions of conversations, intercepting calls. How Isabel had sweet-talked the nurses into believing Evelyn was too emotional and interfering with care. How they had replaced his longtime doctor without telling him. How he suspected the new will wasn't the one he thought he signed. He'd seen it all. And he'd been afraid. But he hadn't been blind. I plugged in the flash drive, bracing myself. Charles's voice filled the room, clear, steady, tired. This is Charles Harper. It's October 17th. If you're hearing this, it means Evelyn's going to need proof. So here it is. There were 4 recordings, each one laying out pieces of the puzzle. He named the days he was medicated more heavily than usual. The day Ryan locked his phone in the garage. The way Isabel always arrived after the pills were taken and before any decisions had to be made. He even mentioned the name of the new attorney, one Charles never spoke to alone. By the time I reached the final recording, I was gripping the edge of the counter just to stay upright. This wasn't just testimony. It was a map. Confession. A goddamn shield. He had known exactly what they were doing. And he had tried in his own quiet way to fight back. If you can't stop them, Evie, then ruin their lie. Don't let them erase you. I sat down, tears burning but not falling. Not yet. I looked around the kitchen, our kitchen, and whispered, I won't. This wasn't grief anymore. This was war. And now, I had everything I needed to fight. The first shot they fired was a letter. It arrived 2 days after I received Charles's recordings. No return address. No postage. Just a plain envelope shoved through the mail slot in the early hours of the morning. Inside was a typed letter on faux legal stationery, accusing me of manipulating Charles in his final months, claiming I had isolated him, exploited his vulnerability, and coerced him into signing over his assets. At the bottom in bold was a chilling line. A legal action is pending. It wasn't signed, but I didn't need a signature to know whose fingerprints were all over it. Ryan had always been sloppy in his cruelty, just enough polish to look professional, just enough venom to feel personal. I took a photo of the letter and emailed it to my attorney. His response came quickly. We'll file for a protective order and begin preparing a harassment case. This was a mistake on their part. But the letter wasn't meant to hold up in court. It was meant to rattle me. It didn't. What it did was confirm one very simple truth. They were scared. And scared people get messy. The next day, Isabel showed up at my front door wearing a pristine cream blouse and holding a Starbucks cup like a peace offering. Her tone was soft, her eyes dry. Evelyn, she said, can we talk? Without the drama. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. Just leaned against the frame and waited. As she launched into her little performance, how the family was under pressure, how the will situation had spiraled, how she understood that things were complicated. And then, with the kind of smile only a liar can perfect, she said, we could find a graceful exit for you. Something private. Dignified. If you're willing to let this go. I didn't laugh. I didn't raise my voice. I just looked her square in the eye and said, I'm not going anywhere. Then I shut the door. She didn't knock again. Later that night, I called my lawyer and requested that we initiate mediation. Not to settle. Not to compromise. But to make sure the next blow was delivered in full view, with every file, every fact, every damning detail laid out like cards on a table. The session was scheduled for the following Friday at a neutral conference center downtown. Beige carpets. Bad coffee. Folded chairs that made everyone sit too close and too upright. I arrived early, wearing the same navy pantsuit I wore to Charles's retirement party, the one he said made me look like a woman who never loses. I took a seat across from Ryan and Isabel, who looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. Ryan's new attorney was young, slick-haired, full of himself. Isabel wouldn't meet my eyes. The mediator was a middle-aged woman with tired eyes and zero tolerance for bullshit. She asked if anyone wanted to open. Ryan leaned forward, smirking. We'd like to resolve this matter quietly. Clearly, Evelyn is. I cut him off. Actually, I'd like to begin. I reached into my leather case and placed a neat stack of documents on the table. A notarized deeds. A printed transcript of Charles's voice recordings. A copy of the original email he sent his attorney. A statement from Reverend Henry verifying the date and state of mind during the signing. A photo of the hidden flash drive for good measure. The room went silent except for the tap of Isabel's bracelet as she shifted in her chair. I didn't say much after that. I didn't need to. The documents spoke louder than I ever could. The mediator flipped through the pages, her expression sharpening with each turn. Then she turned to Ryan's attorney. Would you like to respond? He cleared his throat, visibly sweating. We'll need time to verify the legitimacy of these claims. I smiled, calm as a sunrise. Take all the time you need. I've got nothing but truth and time. Ryan didn't speak. He just stood and walked out without a word. And Isabel? She sat frozen for a few seconds longer before following him, heels clicking like gunshots on the tile floor. I stayed until the mediator gave me the follow-up schedule. Then I gathered my files, tucked the USB into my pocket, and walked out the door with my head high. They had underestimated me from the start. And now for the first time they understood. I wasn't the one on trial anymore. They were. She pulled into the driveway just after 3 on a Saturday afternoon. I'd been standing by the window for 20 minutes before that, telling myself I was just watering the plants, just tidying the curtains, but really I was waiting. Not like I used to wait for Charles to come home. This was different. Tighter. Like the whole house was holding its breath with me. And then she was there. Lena. As she stood outside the car for a moment, arms crossed, eyes scanning the porch like she was trying to recognize something she used to know. She looked older, of course, sharper around the eyes, but also softer in a way I hadn't expected. She didn't knock. Just lingered. I opened the door before she had to. "Hi," she said, quiet, unsure. "Hi," I replied. The word came out smaller than I meant. For a long second we just stood there in the space between past and present, the air thick with all the years we hadn't spoken. Then I stepped aside and she walked in, no hesitation but no assumption either. Just quiet steps into a house that still remembered her. As she looked around slowly, taking in the family photos, the wall clock that never quite ticked right, the hallway that used to be hers. Her eyes landed on a photo of her and Charles. She must have been 15, holding a fishing pole with a crooked grin. I saw her lips tighten. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. We sat at the kitchen table. I'd made tea. The kind she used to like, mint, no sugar. And I'd baked lemon bars using the old stained recipe card she wrote when she was 14, back when we still had time for such things. As she took a bite and closed her eyes for a second. "Still the same," she whispered. "I never stopped making them," I said. "Just stopped having anyone to share them with." We didn't cry. Not yet. That would have been too easy. Too soon. We just sat there in that heavy, fragile quiet and let the moment settle. Then she asked, "Was it always this bad?" I knew what she meant. She didn't mean the house. She meant the silence. The choices. The space between who I'd been and who I'd become. "Not at first," I said. "But it got there. And I stayed longer than I should have." As she looked down at her mug, then back up. "I used to wait for you to leave him." The truth landed hard but not cruel. It didn't sting. It ached. "I should have," I said. "For you. I should have left sooner. And I'm sorry I didn't." She didn't flinch. Didn't pull away. Just let my words hang there. Like clothes drying on a line, heavy, real, exposed. "I know," she said. And somehow that simple acknowledgement cracked something open in me that I hadn't even realized was still bricked shut. I reached across the table, placed my hand over hers, and she didn't move. She let it stay. Later, I showed her the folder. Not to win her sympathy, not to justify myself, but to tell the full story. I let her read the letters, the statements, the transcript from Charles's voice. I let her see the man behind the silence, the one she thought I had chosen over her. As she read everything. Quietly. Carefully. When she finished, she looked at me and said, "They really tried to erase you." I nodded. "They thought they already had." And then, without a word, she stood and wrapped her arms around me. It wasn't a quick hug. It wasn't a goodbye hug. It was the kind of embrace that holds years inside it. The kind that says, "I'm here now. I see you." We didn't need to say more. After she left that evening, I sat alone on the couch with the porch light still on and the scent of lemon still in the air. But for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel hollow. I didn't feel like I was waiting to be replaced. I felt whole. Because sometimes family isn't the people who share your blood. Sometimes, family is the one who comes home when they don't have to. Let me know if you'd like a reflective epilogue or a version adapted into a video script. I'm here to help bring this full circle however you need.